could have had been electrocuted if the saw is electric. I don't think they have any wireless ones yet. No telling. So on page 8, we're looking at the Good Samaritan law. With the Good Samaritan law, once you become a layperson under, I'm on page 8.
8.
Oh, he brought you a wrong one, honey.
Oh,
That ain't that. No one is you asking for. My drink. I'm sorry.
You're all right. We'll get Gidget to come drink it up.
dang. That's sad. He's
Here.
no water in the bar. Okay.
It's vitamin water.
Oh yeah, it's dry.
Sorry about that. On page 8, it's talking about the Good Samaritan law, and I have markers on here if you want to highlighters.
Okay. Let me get the yellow.
And with the Good Samaritan law, if you were to act and accidentally broke a rib, you're covered.
Okay.
Any injury that occurs while you're doing your CPR, you're covered.
Okay.
If I'm on vacation and decide to assist someone in Jamaica or wherever, because Red Cross is a Red Crescent Society, I'm still covered.
Okay. That's good to know.
If I don't know too many folks that on vacation go stop unless it's somebody with them.
Yeah.
On page 9, it talks about when you activate your EMS system, what situations and conditions you're faced with. Now, a situation is considered fire or explosion, drowning, lighting, down electrical wires, drowning, as well as, like I said, the swift running water. Your conditions are somebody having breathing problems, somebody that's having a seizure, vomiting up blood, a severe burn. Those are your conditions. And knowing what to do in those conditions is what's key. Okay, on page 10. When here at the daycare, it is applied that you are going to assist the kids that are hurt. Out in the public, it's, unless you got on a shirt that said I'm trained in CPR, nobody know that you are.
That's right.
Unless the person know you.
Right.
It's up to you to help. But when you do help, you need to ask, can I assist your child? Can I help you? And the person may say no. If they say no, the only thing I say you can do is go to a manager, call 911, or go to security and let them know that you told this person you were trained, but they don't want your assistance, so you can move on. But your old boys must get consent. But because you're here and your contract is with the parent and you, it's implied that you will do what you're supposed to. Any questions? Okay, on page 11 is lowering your risk for infections and dealing with TB, bloodborne pathogens and stuff of that nature. So on the next page it explains it better. In that box you have your airborne and your bloodborne pathogens that you have to deal with. Under your bloodborne you got HIV and hepatitis. Under your airborne you got TB. And I don't know if you remember back in the day when folks first started, the HIV first come out and the kids was having it, and the stigma behind it and how parents wouldn't tell people certain things. So even today, we know kids have different things, just like they don't tell you that the baby got a fever and they bring them in because they gave them Motrin and stuff like that. And you have to find out. So Now, what I think in the past 2 years, maybe longer than that, they have an assessment that they tell you to do of the kids. And you're supposed to do this assessment, that way you can tell whether the baby has a fever before the parent get out the door so you can send them back home.
Right.
But whether people are following it or not. But it's supposed to be 102 fever. And that's even in the school system, that you cannot keep a child with a fever that high.
Yeah.
On page 13 is showing you your mask that you can use in the little pouch, and that latex-free gloves are supposed to be what you're using now. On 14 is this mask. It's on the table somewhere. This is a one-way valve.
Okay.
At the bottom, it has the disposable piece. If I use it, I've had it since I've been teaching, and I've never opened the gloves or used it on anybody, but it's this demonstration. And the piece sits here.
Okay.
And looking at some of the medical shows, they have this where it's attached to the bag, and you can use the bag to do the compressions. I mean the breath versus you doing it yourself. Because some people can't breathe that long, and it's hard. Take it.
Well, my mom had, at the time I take care of my mom, she had went into go like she couldn't breathe.
Yeah.
And she had a trach, and he had to put the thing over and squeeze it for her to breathe with the trach.
Sometimes you can breathe in it with your mouth.
Yeah. Yeah. You did do that too. I saw you doing a little bit of that.
Yeah, on page 15 talks about your bloodborne pathogens. Again, it's talking about cleaning up a spill with your 1 part bleach to a gallon of water. I think it's 1.5 cups of bleach to a gallon of water. Okay. On page 16, taking action, deciding to act. Don't ever go into a scene unless you know that scene is safe. Because you go in and get hurt, what benefit are you to the person that you're trying to help?
Right.
That's why they always tell people, you don't go back in the house for a fire. I don't care who it is, but people go in for dogs and family members, and then they don't get back out because the smoke and stuff takes over, and you can't breathe and stuff, and then never come back out. So that's why it's safe to practice exiting in case of a fire. How you go get out, and have a designated place for you to stand so everybody know to come to that spot. On 17, it's talking about reacting or reaching someone in the water. I tell everybody, if it's over 5 feet and you're acting crazy, I'm not coming in. Sorry, you're not hurting me. So that's one of those situations that the scene is not safe.
Yeah.
For me to dive in and your hands go, no.
And pulling you on.
No, right. No, you're not going to do that. If it's a child, I'm going to do what I got to do.
Yeah.
But that's one of the major things that I myself, somebody else can dive in for you. Okay, on this page, it's talking about checking the person. You always tap the person on the shoulder. Are you okay? Are you okay? In today's society, you just can't walk up to somebody laying on the street or sitting on the chair looking like they unconscious. You need to make sure. Because everybody on the floor and sitting in the chair may not be up to no good. They're not there for the right reason.
Right.
So you holler out, are you okay, from a distance before you walk up. Ladies, we have pocketbooks and stuff, and the first thing you do is you go over there and reach down to help somebody, and they grab your purse and took off running. And what you could do?
No.
Nothing but holler. It's
Yeah.
too late
Too
then.
late, 'cause ain't nobody helping.
The average person, if they're in a chair or laying on the floor, if you call them 4 times, they gonna move some kind of way. I don't care how deep sleep. The eye gonna blink, the body or the chest gonna move a different way. Then you know if they don't respond, not to go in. Unless you not by yourself.
Right.
If we got somebody with you, go check and see if they're okay. But normally you go in and you tap them on the shoulder. You put your ear over the mouth to see if they're breathing. And while you're doing that, you're scanning the body to make sure that there are no other injuries before you can start doing your CPR if it's needed. Because, like you said, person could be asleep. And if the person is asleep, they'll let you know that they're asleep. You woke me up. But the other individuals, if they're really hurt and they won't help, they're going to let you know. But you got folks that out there for craziness. At the bottom of page 19, it talks about calling first and caring first. There are situations where you have to call first, such as individual about 12 years or older who's unresponsive, or a child or an infant who you know have a defect, a heart defect, and someone that you witnessed collapse in front of you. So if you see someone pass out, then you know you need to call first. Down at the bottom, you care first for someone drowning, allergic reaction, somebody that may be bleeding, because those things you have to take care of first. Now, bleeding, you need to stop the bleeding. So before you can even do CPR, because you up here pumping, what's the blood gonna be doing? Coming out. Yeah, and allergic reaction. Matthew and I went over this EpiPen and stuff. We'll get to that in a minute. He's recording. Over on page 20 is showing you the proper